Hey, Jen. Oh, I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to meet you. So, Francis,
Good
you
to
know how the
meet
drill.
you.
So you know the drill probably if you've seen my videos. Tell me your seeking story and what got you here.
Um, well, I'll just tell you where I'm at right now. So, maybe a month ago, I realized, the one thing I haven't really done is I still believe my thoughts.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the number one thing that most people talk about is just to
yeah.
watch the thoughts go by, believe
Hmm.
them. But I was like, I still believe my thoughts. And then maybe a week ago, I think I've seen your videos before on my feed, but
Hmm.
I had you pegged as a radical non-dual speaker like Jim
Yeah,
Newman or Tony Parsons
yeah,
or something, maybe because I saw you a couple years ago.
yeah,
But your thumbnail was like head popping, and
yeah,
instant awakening. So I was like, what's this?
yeah,
And yeah, I listened to you. So much clarity there. I'm like, I've got to speak to him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how was it watching that
So
video?
oh gosh, some of them I just listen to, and some of them I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's so obvious. It's just this. And then later I'll be like, what was obvious? What? What did I see? I feel like
Yeah,
I'm on a rocking horse. I'm just like, I don't get it. Oh,
yeah,
there it is.
yeah,
Wait.
yeah,
It's just back and forth constantly. Yeah.
yeah. So
So,
just to meet where you're at, what was your background,
mhm.
in seeking? Like what did you listen to and everything? And
Oh my gosh.
is it
Okay.
a whole litany of it?
Yeah, so I didn't start seeking till maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Like prior to that, I was completely mind identified. I mean,
Yeah.
I just no clue. This is like my eyes were closed. And the problem with that is I had like the most debilitating self-hatred. That was a voice in my head
Yeah.
constantly.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that brings me a little sad. But anyways, yeah, so one day I had a friend who was trying to convince me to be trying to share all of the Buddhist doctrines and stuff,
Yeah.
which to me smacked of idolatry. And so I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
for me. But at the end of one email, he wrote this one sentence that said, but every now and then I like to listen to Jim Newman on YouTube. I was
Yeah.
like, what's that? So
Yeah.
I put Jim Newman and I was like, he's talking about no one here, nothing to do, life
Yeah.
has no meaning. And I have no spiritual background whatsoever. I was like, what the crap is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like one of those cartoon characters that was completely red with steam coming out of my ears. I mean, it just angered me, the message did.
Yeah.
And yeah, a couple days later, I was like, gosh, what did I get so angry about?
Yeah.
Why was I so
Yeah.
freaking angry? And that's what got me down the rabbit hole. But basically, any teacher that has a book or a YouTube video, I'm sure I'll come across them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You've been busy
Yeah.
then for the past 5 years.
2 years, for the first 2 years, it was very intense.
Yeah.
Just eating, breathing, sleeping, everything non-duality. But I think at a certain point, it was around the 2 year mark, I realized it didn't matter if someone told me there was no one here and nothing to do. I mean, it felt like there was someone here, and I was so full
Yeah.
of all this self-hatred. I was like, I got to do something with that. I don't care what other people are telling
Yeah.
me. Yeah, so it was like a lot of shadow work, a lot of working on myself, and just working on my reactions. Basically, just watching myself.
Yeah.
And so that's where like the past 3 years have been. But along the way, like things just became clearer and
Yeah.
clearer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. My last teacher was Keith Kavanaugh. He he's ACIM.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah,
and
I was in ACIM for 10 years too, so
yeah, I,
yeah, yeah.
I I dabbled with ACIM,
Yeah.
but I loved him because his core message, even though he has long talks, ultimately what he says is no matter what comes up, what does it have to do with you?
Yeah.
Or in what
Yeah.
situation, what thought, what feeling, what does it have to do with you? And there's like a resonance with that. And it's almost kind of basically going to your in between, that's
Yeah,
what he's trying to teach.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So let's get to it. So
Yeah.
at this very second, this very instance, what do you believe if you're not able to go to the past or the future?
There's nothing. You can't go
You
there. I
can't
mean,
go there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So isn't non-duality supposed to be unspeakable, unthinkable, unknowable? So here it is, right? But it's so simple that we always overlook it. And and the moment that we say that it's nothing, the mind creates an opposite called not nothing. There's something here again. I'm back in. What the hell? I'm in a rocking, rocking chair or the rocking horse and everything, right? So um
Right.
because that's the nature, I guess, of the mind. It's just it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But the nature of the mind is also illusory. So there's really no this or that, belief or non-belief. And no disrespect to everyone that you mentioned, but
Uh-huh.
they're still peddling a belief system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if you see it, right? Because the moment that you say that there's no one here, that becomes a belief. Because it does feel like there's someone here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the mind will say that anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh, the simplicity of this is just that it defies logic. There's no logic to it. There's really no, even saying that, you know what I'm saying? It's between logic and no logic. What's there? Yeah.
You can't even go there because
No.
just try to look at it tries to grasp for words.
And
Yeah.
people usually seek it out of the way. So if you can't go there, then there's no you in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I can glimpse it, but I still feel like I'm trying to get something. And I know, yeah, that's another thought, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So the moment that the mind goes there, it's almost like in the beginning anyway, right? It's almost like cornering it, going directly at it. What did you say again?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I said it feels like I'm still trying to get it.
Because the me, the you, whatever, the illusion, or whatever you might want to call it, not even call it anything, it's not really here. So it's trying to distract you to go to the next. Well, how do I get that then? But if you corner it, where's that you? Well, the mind will say, well, when there's a no you, then it will be okay. No, that it tries to distract you again to go there, right? But if you really can like just go, if you go intimately with it, where's the you or the no you? Where's the there and not there? So the mind can only really create opposites, time, this, that, right? Anything that the mind
Right.
comes up has an opposite. That's why when the mind can like just goes, like for example, if I ask you, what are you without language at this moment?
It's like you can't move. Any
Yeah,
movement, it's
yeah,
not it.
yeah. It's like playing a chess with stillness, right? The moment that you make a move, even internally, even
Hmm.
mentally, is a checkmate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly it. I feel like I'm in like a nonstop checkmate over and over and over
That's right.
again.
Yeah. Or it's
Yeah.
like playing ping pong, right? With one player going one side of the table to the opposite side of the table.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my rocking
Yeah.
horse analogy, but it's almost like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, how do we do this then when there is always going to be this and that? You go in between. Rather than being a player, you know what I'm saying? If you just stay in the middle, then there's nothing playing. because the ping pong player can't go to the middle and try to. It can't. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. It's kind of like, like with Sun Tzu, right? It's like the art of war. If you know the game, if you know the enemy all the time, then you beat it all the time.
But I mean, I get that. I get that there's no this and that, and
Yeah,
that's why there's no in between. I kind of get that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I also get on the flip side of it. So the first part would be like nothing. There's nothing
yeah,
or blankness,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It's almost like it's both. It's like I know you talk to people and you say it's kind of like sobriety.
It
But
is.
for me, it feels like I'm drunk, I'm sober, and I'm hungover all at once. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
It has to
there's a
be.
certain
It has to
discordant.
be. It has to be total sobriety. Kind of like what I was talking to someone, and it's like the moment that you think of the past or the future, it's like taking a shot. Then you start getting drunk again. You know what I'm saying? But if you have complete sobriety, then you stop taking shots.
Yeah,
And
so
this
I'm
seems like,
looking
and this seems,
at
and it,
sobriety.
yeah, but it has nothing to do about you being sobriety, because you being so sober is also drunkenness. Does that make any sense? You know?
That's why I feel everything all at once.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the arc of my life was, when I was blind, it was from here to here, right? I'm
Yeah,
just back and forth.
yeah.
Like it's like with the non-duality, it's like my two eyeballs that were doing their own thing are
Mhm.
slowly coming into focus, but I'm only here. Like my eyes are doing this constantly,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
every second.
well, in
It's
the in the gradual unfolding of this, it might seem like that. You know what I'm saying? But don't
yeah.
don't get stuck with that idea that you're stuck there, because there's no you stuck there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's no you stuck there. It's just another thought. It's just another belief. So what are you without that belief? That in my life I have this arc. It's just another narrative.
It feels true though.
That too is just another narrative. Keep on going. I'll keep on calling it out, right? I'll
Okay, I
keep on
love how
checking.
much of a brick wall you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in the next. It's not a dropping away. It's not like, it's right here. So right here, what if you drop the observer? What are you without the observer? Because the observer will observe the past and they're like, wow, my life is an arc and everything. So it creates another thing, right? So what are you without that? The observer is like this pathological liar that just maintains this delusion about you by maintaining something that you think is true. But even what you think is true is just another delusion, because even the word true is made up. True is just a word. False is just a word. So what if your whole construct, all that you've been basing it on, is based on lies? The moment that you say I, that's a lie. The moment that you think, well, when there's no me, that's another lie. There's no such thing as a me or no me. And the unfortunate part about learning non-duality is that you end up with a mountain of ideas about what this is. Get off the mountain, right? Because that's what happened to me too. It's so hard to talk about this because it can't be talked about. Yet I talk for hours about it. You know what I'm saying? So I cut that and just
Mhm.
focused on the one-on-one basically, right? And there's more success, with just being direct, 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 right? So that's what it is. It's just being direct. It's like when you're trying to get to a destination, although this is just a story, so don't get caught up in this. You're going to a destination, you're like, oh, there's a detour. You know what I'm saying? You'll never get there. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no destination. Does that make any sense? The mind is trying to get to a destination when there's no destination. There's no left, there's no right, there's no whatever, right? So the mind will be like, I should just keep on going along. It has nothing to do, right? You get it,
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
You get it? Yeah.
I'm just going to go to another story. It's
Go
like
to the story. Go ahead.
I'm trying to get that there's nothing to get. I'm
That,
still
you know
trying
what?
to get.
Whoever
Yeah.
said that in the beginning should
Uh-huh.
send an apology letter to everybody, because that's
What?
just should send an apology letter to everybody because that's just another position that there's nothing to get.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can
Yeah,
see
that's what I'm
where I'm
saying. Leave the
been hanging
mountain
on.
behind that you've learned. It's a mountain of ideas and thoughts from everybody else, right? So it's between there's nothing to get and there's something to get. Sober, right? That's what I mean by sobriety. Good. Stay there. Don't buy into the past or the future. Don't let you get in the way. Don't accept or reject. Sober. And there'll be something brewing behind, right? On the side. And if you feel it, don't go there, right?
It's just like a well of tears wants to come up.
Go for it. Go direct with it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's so tiring, right? I was just talking to another person that kept on saying, well, there's nothing to get. That's why I'm like, whoever said that should, take that statement back. It's all just statements, 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 statements. Here's kind of like a smug character saying, there's nothing to get. Stop it, all right? Because it becomes suffering for another person. And then you start seeking for like 10 more years or 5 more years, or like you're like 80 years old and you're saying that I met all the teachers and I don't know if you can help me or anything, right? The teachers, the speakers will not help. They're like gatekeepers. Because the more they talk, the more they complicate it. Rather than clearing it up. Let's clear it up, right? That's why you're here. Let me be the brick wall, right? But a compassionate one. Yeah. It's so frustrating. How are you feeling, by the way?
Just a huge geyser of emotion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I used to, bang my head on the wall, on the brick wall, actually. Because I was just like, what do you mean there's nothing to get? What do you mean this is already the case? What do you mean this is the thing? Because the mind wants to make that into a reality, right? When it's almost like what's that term again? It's almost like cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back there again, right? What are you without words at this moment? What are you without the observer of words? What's between the observer and the observed? And whatever is brewing, right? If you can go to the past or the next, then they'll just be brewing until it doesn't really matter, even if they're brewing. It will not boil over. And there's a directness, right? There's a directness to whatever's happening. So if there's tears, tears. If you take away the word tears, it's just whatever. See, the mind wants to conceptualize everything because the mind is a concept, right?
Yeah, I can feel my mind just kind of doing this
That's
number.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I just-
It will try, right? It will try. But if you don't accept or reject it, because the moment that you reject it, then there is a reinforcement that there's a mind to reject.
Yeah, there's still a subtle, I don't know, a subtle effort to not
What's between effort and effort?
run off with the thought.
Yeah, what's between effort and no effort? If you take away what's aware, what's left? Whereabouts are you, Francis?
I'm in Virginia,
Virginia. Where's that? But
right
that's not
below
the.
D, right
I'm in
below DC.
Toronto, Canada, so that's not that far actually.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to show you that even when we're talking, it's here. There's this person that called me. He goes, I'm having a hard time trying to maintain. I'm like, no, it's not about maintenance because when I talk, it seems to disappear. No, it doesn't. It's always here. Whatever this is, don't name it too, right? Don't put any position to it. Don't try to put any conditions to it. The moment that the words try to, try to grasp it, go directly with it. And then the moment that you think that you're observing it, take away the observer. It's almost like, like remember when maybe you're too young for it, but the radio station that has static or the
Oh yeah,
TV,
yeah,
you go,
yeah.
shh, oh, FM, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's the moment that you get there, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like you don't need to adjust it anymore. It's there. Or maybe one time when you're driving, like you hit like a bump or something, it goes shh, again, turn it back again. Right. It's like
Mm.
between effort and no effort, basically. Right. I remember before the TV channels when they had antennas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember
You remember
that.
the just move to the left, you're like moving the antenna. I'm like, is it good now? No, to the left. I'm like, which left?
Yeah, and they had all the aluminum foil all
Yeah, yeah. You must be around my age then. I was born in 71, so
I'm 2 years older.
okay. Well, you look young. We're Asian.
Oh, I feel like I've aged 20 years in the past 5 years.
But
Yeah.
now, after that seeking nightmare for me, I was looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh my goodness, it looks like I'm like 80, right?
Uh,
Oh,
I got to tell you though, I know it's just a story, but
go ahead.
it's, I got to tell you, I know it's just a story, but holding a handful of self-hatred and
Oh,
swapping it for non-duality,
oh,
like a breath of fresh air. I mean,
yeah,
I don't care if they're stories, like
yeah,
it literally saved me.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's
It's like pouring
even
cold
in the
water,
story,
right?
one story is later.
Yeah. I do remember that because I was, I don't want to completely kind of like, say that um this I was suffering quite a lot too. A lot of self-hatred, a lot of trauma.
What what's really funny is it doesn't matter what the story is. Like everybody's suffering is the same. It's kind of really hard to wrap your mind around it, you know?
It is.
My
It is.
friend had the most beautiful, obviously this is an external viewpoint, but the most beautiful, close, intimate family, but she had a hearing impairment. And
Yeah.
that completely debilitated her, you know?
Yeah.
And I recognized that the suffering was the same. And it was like, wow, wow.
I have this new friend actually that I got someone introduced me to this friend basically said that Emerson, she did not know that I'm a non-duality speaker, right? So just friends, you know what I'm saying? Just and then
Mhm.
she said that, oh, that one night we were just like talking and she showed me pictures of her sisters, basically. I'm like, aren't they so pretty? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, they just look just like you. And she goes, oh no, 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 they're pretty. And I have this birthmark on my face. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, right? That even that little, you know what I'm saying? That little things that I don't even notice, right? For her, it's
Hmm.
debilitating, right? They're like
Yeah.
they're models and everything. And I'm like, you could be a model. He goes, no, no, I have this birthmark thing. I'm like, I don't really, I just, yeah, I don't see it as a plus or a minus or whatever, right? She goes, you don't? I'm like, no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, and yeah, so you can bat down another story for me.
Go ahead, yeah, go
There's
ahead.
like a
We'll go through it.
hyper vigilance. Like I am like hyper vigilant of myself. I can feel it still, you
Yeah,
know?
that's just another belief.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
what I
another
started.
belief. It's,
Yeah.
it's, I used to think of this about me and this, it's like layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of stories, right? It's like you peel
Never
one,
ending.
yeah, yeah,
Another
but the
price.
moment that you see it's just peelings. It's not what you are, right? It's
Yeah.
just another
Yeah.
fabrication.
But I only brought that up because when you're trying to lead me to that space, it's like that hyper vigilance,
That's
like get
okay.
rid
That's okay. That's okay. Meet it. Where's that hypervigilance at this moment if you can't give it to the past or the future?
right here is tears.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's almost like that in between that rejection and acceptance, there's just this sweet surrender, right? You're like, okay. It's not a denial of it, it's not an acceptance of it. It is what it is, but we think or we believe rather that it's hypervigilance or something. It's like a negative trait or something. Something that's wrong with us. Yeah.
It is. It's true. I've
Yeah.
put such a negative label on it. But
Kind of like what I said, right? I don't see it as a plus or a minus. It's
but
just,
the feeling of it is like living under a microscope, you know?
yeah,
Is the feeling just a story?
it is.
The feeling is just a
It's
story? It
just another
feels
story. Yeah. The moment that you say that I'm feeling this, right? There's sensation. If you take away the word feeling, what's left? If you take away the ownership of the feeling, what's left?
My mind wants to say empty looking, but that's just a story.
That's just another story. Come on, that doesn't, I won't even let that pass, Francis, come on. Yeah, even empty looking is just whatever, right? So if you rip it apart and if you just go directly at it, and then if you unpeel it, if you unlabel it, if you just keep on going directly to it, it's almost like, when you have myopia or short-sightedness, when you go closer, you're like, oh, it's not even there. You just think it's there. You just think that's what you are. I used to be the harshest critic. I used to have this. I just didn't have a voice in my head. I had a chorus. It was a chorus that would go in debates. You know what I'm saying? And that's how harsh my thinking was. I was just the worst critic in my head, and it's just not a critic. It's a forum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they shout back at each other, right? And then one day, when because I would have panic attacks. That's how bad it got for me. I don't know if you've heard my story, that I had a lot of anxiety because I'm always thinking, like, oh, I can't go
Yeah.
there. And then one day when I went directly to it, and this is when the unhappening kind of like just kept on going and going. I went directly at it, and I was like, wait a sec. The source of this is Emerson, but I can't find Emerson. Can you find Francis? If you don't give it a past or future, where is it? It's just a word that you believe, that you identify with, right?
Yeah.
It's just a conditioning if you look at it. But if you don't give it a past, don't give it a future, where's Francis?
Yeah, it's just an idea.
Yeah, it's a relief. So if it's just an idea, then Francis's idea about being a vigilant, um, critic or something is still an idea. The idea will just keep on popping up with more ideas to maintain its authority. But if you look at the authority, that is just an idea, then
Look at the authority.
it's like an authority figure, basically, right? It's what, like
Yeah.
Francis has said that this is right or wrong and everything. But if you look at that authority, meaning Francis is just an idea. It's an idea that's not quite there. It's almost like an imaginary friend that you formed
Oh,
into. Yeah.
oh. It's like I gave my all my authority. Well, that's just a
But
it's
go
just
ahead,
a story. I
say that
gave
anyway.
all my analogy to a character called Francis.
Exactly. Yeah. Then Francis is in your head now that rules it, basically, right? That criticizes everything that you do when it's just an idea. And if you say it's much more than that, even that is an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, it can't be an idea because I feel it. That's just an idea again.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
stuck on that one.
That's still an
Feelings.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like we come up with some,
Anybody and it is the idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with feeling, but if you really go directly at the feeling, who's feeling it? Just an idea.
Is that like a
This is,
melt dolly clock behind you?
yes, it is.
It is? Okay.
It's from Timu if you want to buy it. It's like $3. I thought it was kind of cool,
It is
right?
cool. Is that a dolly painting or just a clock?
It's just a clock. Yeah. Want to see it?
Oh yeah, I love it.
I broke the illusion for you.
There you go.
It actually has like a battery, so it's actually a working clock.
That actually
But I haven't
works.
bothered to put a battery on it. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't really. It's just for aesthetic, you know. Saying it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the simplicity is so mind-boggling, right? Because I did think that I would ever, you know what, it's ever get here, whatever this is, right? This is just a story, of course. Because all I heard is you'll never get here, you will never get it. This will not never happen. But that's just another story. That's also a story. You'll never get here.
Oh, you'll
Yeah,
never get here, and
yeah. There's no you to get this. It just reinforces there's a you, so that's why you're not getting this. You have to be a no you to get this.
yeah, it's just circles,
It's a circle, yeah.
circles.
But it's so far. It's because I had this you know this whatever you call this, um, which is really insignificant to be honest with you. Um, I didn't know how to talk about this. Then when I was catching myself talk about this, I'm like, am I just becoming a gatekeeper like the other guys, right?
Mm.
Because my one-on-ones were different, even before the in-between, because I've been doing this one-on-ones for about 3 years now. Even without the in-between just came out of nowhere. You know, I was just talking. I was in I had this challenge because I was doing a retreat with a bunch of people, and they all had different belief systems. So I can't just talk. There were people from ACIM, there were people from actualization, realization groups, and everything, right? So it's a big group of people. It's like 100. And so the simpler that I expressed this, I was noticing that there was a shift in the moment, right? The simpler that
Oh
I
yeah.
got to it.
Oh, these videos just don't, I mean, yeah, I can't even listen to the other videos anymore. Not that I really did much, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so direct. I can recognize, anyone who watches can recognize that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's I love it. I love it. I love doing this. So it's like because I've been where you are, you know what I'm saying? You know that like I would even compete with you. I'll be like I had a worse, you know, like because that's what the mind does, right? It
Yeah.
will say that
Mine was worse.
my
Talking
critique
about
was 24/7 compared to you probably, you were not quite there yet, in the suffering. What do I
yeah,
know? You know what I'm saying?
exactly. No.
Because the mind wants to to basically fracture and compare and this and that, right? Because that's how it functions. But what this
Right.
is not a function. It's just clear. If you take away all the words right now, what's left? And the mind will say, well, this works only when you're here, but what happens when you go? There is no next. It's just another belief. When the last remaining belief that there is a next. I can't see a next. For me, that was what was quite obvious is because the severity of my anxiety that I hid for a long, long time was almost like my identity. My secret identity was that I was this, super anxious person that kept it cool, you know, as a facade. So we all have our stories like that. So that was my belief of what I was. Is it here now? No, not at all. It's almost like when you're dreaming and you keep on going back to sleep. When you finally can like, I have to wake up, then all of the stuff starts diminishing, right? Everything that you dreamt about, all the nightmares. And the way that this is presented with a lot of even myself before, I'm not going, when I'm criticizing, I don't, I also include myself in that. But at least I admit it, right?
Mm.
So when even when I was talking about this, I was always talking about for you to get to the next before. There's no you. When I say that, the mind will be like, well, how do I get there? Because it feels like there's a you here or there's a me here, right? There's nothing to get. Well, how do I get to there's nothing to get? So it always creates a next, a next, a next, a next. But when I say, what's between you and no you?
Yeah, there's just nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you've been
I
talking, I've been watching, but I
yeah,
don't know what you said.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
thought that, you know what I'm saying? This is just a story. This was not going to get any traction because it's so simple. It doesn't intellectualize things. I don't rant about this for 2 hours, you know what I'm saying? Or um so how's the weather in Virginia? Virginia, right? You
It's
just
getting pretty hot now.
is it pretty
Yeah.
hot?
hmm Well, probably just in the 80s, but that's like low 80s, but that's
Okay,
pretty
yeah.
hot.
Here it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. You know what? It was so surprising. Yesterday was hot. It was like, shorts weather. So I was like, wear my shorts and flip-flops. I was walking. And then I opened all my windows. And then this morning I was like, oh, where's my duvet? You know, it was freezing.
Again, yeah. Yeah, the weather's been like that here. It's not quite sure if it's done with being cold or not.
I know, yeah. Just like the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do there in Virginia, Francis?
Oh my goodness, nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Like I think in January I lost my job.
Mhm.
Um of my own making. I didn't, I don't
Yeah.
I was just tired of what I was doing and I don't know, without a job, without any real structure,
Yeah.
it's been so hard. It's
Yeah.
been hard. It's like the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when that happened to me too, right? It was like, what do I do now? And then my thinking just went into overdrive because I didn't have a structure anymore, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think my thinking went into overdrive though. It was like learning to have nothing to be
N-
structured with.
no, because I was trying to
Um,
get back to where I was
oh,
because I
you
was,
were?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was a spiritual teacher and I got canceled,
Uh-huh.
canceled myself and also got canceled simultaneously. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And because I was just seeing that, I'm like, what am I kind of like what you did is you can like almost did it yourself because I was like, what am I doing being a spiritual teacher when no one is getting free from this? And it dawned on me, and I'm like, am I even free really? And I'm like, wait a sec. I just thought I was enlightened. I was like, oh no. And that, spiraled into imposter syndrome. And what am I doing? I gave up a good career, you know what I'm saying? I would have been a millionaire by now, you know what I'm saying? If I just went, stuck with corporate, why did I become spiritual? A lot of regrets, a lot of this and that, right? All that kind of stuff. I would have been stable right now. Here I am, um, serving others on the street, teaching meditation, doing this and everything. But I'm the one that is suffering. My judgment just went underground, basically, right? I'm just judging others now that we're not as spiritual as me or not as enlightened as me, which was just kind of like, yeah, I was like, what the hell? So now the simplicity of this is I don't even consider myself anything, right? It's just thought. Simplicity, it's like, this doesn't feel like a job at all.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it.
Yeah.
fun. You're just having fun all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had people here over the weekend, and they were just talking that you're the same from your videos and when you're in person. I'm like, why would I be any different? But I was different before because I had to almost put on an act that I was enlightened, that there's no me here, you know? And then my brothers were like, "Oh, cut the crap, Emerson." You know what I'm saying? Because they've known. So this is like the pre-high school, pre-suffering Emerson, basically, right? It's like before it carried mountains and mountains of knowledge and understandings and belief systems, right? So it's just not better or worse. It's just what it is.
Hmm.
Mhm. How are you feeling now?
It's like past, 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 past,
Good.
past
Yeah,
keeps
yeah, yeah.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to answer that. It's okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, one of the characters is just a story was being a saboteur. It's like being kind of like a savior and saboteur simultaneously. Thinking that here I was helping others, trying to help people on the streets, at risk youth, all that kind of stuff. And then at nighttime, I was self-sabotaging. It was
Yeah.
just wild, right? It's so wild that when the character goes berserk, right? It just goes into full tilt madness. From an outside perspective, my life might seem so plain and boring. I'm saying? He
Uh-huh.
just talks, like on the computer, goes for a walk, and then, plays music, and then that's it, basically. Before it was like curating my own Instagram feed, my stories. Oh, there was no stories before, but you know what I mean, right? My life was like on social media.
Uh-huh.
And then I haven't posted anything in the past 4 months, on my social media right now. Which I should. People are like wondering if I'm okay. I'm like, are you okay? So I'm going to send a newsletter after today, say. So, are you still doing talks, Emerson? Are you still doing this? That's what it is. It's just there's a growing contentment, right? So, because the mind is it's an infinite, source of discontent. There's always something missing. There's always something better. So I used to buy into that all the time, right? And I think it was self improvement that got me in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you start watching like Oprah, Eckhart, like the what else? What's that guy again with the big mouth, great teeth?
Oh. Oh.
Super exciting, like it's like a Tom Cruise on steroids.
Oh, Tony
That's the
Robbins?
one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, the first person that came to mind was God, I can't that preacher Joel, just because of the
You'll
mouth. I
same.
was like, I don't cut you for one who would have like gotten into him.
No, no, no. So I was into Tony Robbins, right? And
Yeah.
Deepak,
Yeah.
and how to become a millionaire, like how to self, and
Right.
then I'm like, oh, I'm much, much better than that. I'll go for the spiritual bit of that right now. So I got
Yeah.
into Eckhart, right? I got into A Course in Miracles. I got into what was those four agreements? Don
Oh,
Miguel Ruiz.
what you're talking about, but I don't know what the
Yeah,
form of
be
it was.
impeccable with your work. It's self improvement, right? They were great, to be
Yeah,
honest with you, in the beginning, but when you get into the darker side of it, right, you just keep on going and going and going and going.
yeah. I really started from a dark place for so even those were light. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know
Those
what?
were guiding lights for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of us goes through some kind of like crisis in life. Then we want to somehow surpass it or to be able to rise above whatever is happening, right? So in our effort, in our earnestness to get
Why?
better.
I think that's why it's well, everything's a story, but you know, I mean, my first 20 years were hell,
Yeah.
so like yeah, it's like I can see how I'm like gripping onto the story of it,
Yeah,
gripping
yeah.
on identity. I can see it. Yeah.
When I tell stories about myself, it's the same thing as telling stories about others now. It's not personal anymore. I still feel the feels, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Right? But it becomes less and less, about me. Because
Yeah.
when you see through, kind of like what we were doing earlier, right? If you really look at Francis, if you really look at the root of it, if you really look closely, right, and not blink and stare at it completely, is it really there?
No, it's
No.
just a memory happening now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what? I have this event coming up next month, and then some of the people that are attending it have just been through the ringer. Holy crow! Right? It's like, whoa! It's just, yeah, yeah. It's I'm embarrassed to tell my story sometimes. When I hear those stories, right? Some of them anyway, right? It's just like, oh my goodness, wow! And they're still standing, right? And but I can see I can see the. And this is just a story. The end of that tunnel as well.
Right.
Yeah, but when you're in the tunnel, when you don't see the end of it's just all darkness. Because I was there. I'm like, I didn't even know I was going. I had no idea I was going to get out of that hell that I was in for quite a while. I was just like, and you've been there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You don't think you're ever going to get out, and then suddenly, suddenly you are.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, what happened there?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I must have had all these expectations on my talk with you because this is nothing how I imagine it.
Yeah. What were you
I was like,
expecting?
I want to talk with Emerson and he'll like clear me up and
Yeah.
yeah.
There's no clearing up. It's just another belief, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like sobriety. It's a sobriety that will keep on unfolding, keep on unfolding, keep on unfolding. Because the moment that the mind wants a position, right? The mind wants you to be lobotomized. You know what I'm saying? um,
Yeah.
yeah. But there's a relief that grows, right? In this moment.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's realistic. It's not like there was this person that same thing with you said that, oh, I thought that I was going to be, floating up in the air, and the lights will all turn on and levitating, that kind of stuff, and super enlightened. And my response was, well, I don't know why you're not floating yet, but I've been floating for the past. It's all a myth, right?
Yeah.
The mythology, the romanticized version of enlightenment is just so dangerous for a lot of people because it's always presented here. Here it is, here it is. But the mind goes, well, I,
Yeah.
yeah. The mind will always create a narrative about what this is, but it's not a narrative. It's what's already here. If you take away the narrative, that's what it is. And this is
Yeah.
just a story. I would never replace this with that romanticized version of what this is. Because I lived through that romanticized version of what this is. That's why I know, like, I was supposed to be listen. I was, right? Because if you're helping others, if you're, in the beginning anyway, if everybody looks at you lovingly, you know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to be enlightened and you're in a community where everybody basically adores you and then you're helping others, right? But the crack still starts showing. You're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like it's like the bad stories seem horrible, but the good stories are the ones that you're really gripping the tightest onto.
That's what I was
It
doing.
looks like you're gripping onto your, poor me childhood, but over here you're secretly gripping onto this promise of
I was gripping
uh
onto that I got enlightened, and that's what it was
yeah,
about 20 years ago. Here's my enlightenment story. Here's what 15 years ago. Here and it was just madness, right? I was meditating 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes like I would go on a vacation and my friends would catch me in the washroom doing my sadhana. They're like, "What are you doing, Emerson? You're on vacation." And I'm like, "Oh,
oh,
you know what?" And then my friends would even feel bad about giving me a piece of like food that had meat in it, or if they're drinking around me because I have embodied this holy being now, right? And but really I was suffering because I did not like it at all.
so those moments like I don't know, when like love, it just feels like it's love, and you're like, oh my gosh, all my stories are relevant. I love everything. Those are almost kind of like drug highs, aren't they?
They are
They're like,
like drug highs. I've been through
yeah.
so many of those. At one point I'm like, I don't want this anymore. I
And
want to so
you're expecting enlightenment to be in that state
all the
forever.
time. Yeah, yeah.
That would be hell.
That's what happened to me. I was in hell while being enlightened,
So
right?
being all good is
Yeah,
hell, and being
yeah.
all bad is hell. It's like that's what you mean by in between. It's like between the two.
That's right.
That's the
There's
Nisargadatta quote, isn't it?
no, no. The Sagadata says
Nothing and between
love.
the
Yeah,
love, I'm nothing, whatever, I'm everything. But he's saying between the two, that's really what he's trying to point to,
maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did like
Yeah.
that quote. Yeah.
Back
So,
onto the promise. Yes.
and that's what I was right here. Was like supposed to be enlightened, and you know what? All of a sudden, everybody loves me. You know what I'm saying? And all of my trauma seems to have been cured, right? And I'm supposed to be this ideal. Everybody wants to be friends with me. Everybody likes my posts. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is bowing to you, really, right? When you go to your parents' house, your parents are like, "Oh wow, you're doing really great," except your brothers that know who you really are. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
that is that when one time I remember my brother, he goes, Emerson, are you for real? Is this really what's happening to you? And I'm like, yeah. And then my other brother he goes, yeah, he does a lot of good things. What are you talking about? Don't. And then that really affected me because I'm like, am I just really putting on a show? Am I
Yeah.
really, is this coming from my insecurity? Am I crafting this enlightenment thing when I was a teacher, right? Because I was such an insecure character that went through hell for quite a while too. But I replaced it with another hell.
And now, like you become hyper vigilant to making sure your image is intact.
That's what it was, right? I was so hyper vigilant with it that it was just gonna crack one day, right? Because here it is, my mom, like at that time, my mom was sick. I was going through relationship problems, separation. And then I was really questioning my friends. Are they really my friends? Are they just friends because I'm this spiritual guy or whatever? I didn't even have anyone that I could just laugh with, right? And just be silly with. You know what I'm saying? And just
Uh,
and I was just becoming serious. And on top of that, there was a deep feeling that I don't deserve to be enlightened, so I have to deserve it. So I kept on giving my money away. I kept on um, doing meditation, and I kept on giving till it hurts, basically, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And then one
Yeah.
day, one time when I was falling apart and I just lost it, I just cried and I could not take it anymore. The people that were putting me in a pedestal started looking down on me
Yeah. That's
because I put myself in that situation too, right? Because here I am, kind of like, why is he falling apart now? I thought that he was enlightened, right? Or I thought he was realized and everything. What the hell is happening with this guy now? So now, free from all of that constraints and all of that chains, right? Life
yeah,
has
it's
just become so ordinary and normal and free, free from all ideas of